Good morning, my friends. Oh, what do people see? Let's talk about it. Jesus, coffee. Yes, very, very late jump this morning. We've had a very rough morning already. What do people see when they look at you? Do they see Christ in you, or do they see the world in you? What do they see? Do they see Christ in you all the time? Or do they only see Christ in you in certain moments? What do they see? What do others see when the world's not looking? What's God see when the world's not looking? You know, what's our response to things? You know, when I'm sitting in front of this camera, either here on this platform, or over on TikTok, or now over on Discord, I'm sitting in front of this camera. Jim, right? When I'm at work, Jim. What's God see? And what does my wife see when there's no camera? What's she see? Does she see Christ in me? Or does she see the world in me? You know, I want to talk about a couple of passages this morning. Because there's some behaviors that need to be put off, and there's some behaviors that need to be changed and put on new behaviors. Am I talking about, all of these deep, dark things that I'm doing behind the curtain? No, that's not it. It's not what I'm doing, it's what I'm not doing. It's what's not being done. I'm going to go through a passage in Ephesians 4. And this is a passage that I've talked about a few times. It's talking about putting off and putting on. But in the middle of putting off, talking about putting off filthy rags, putting on new clothes. Those filthy rags are our acts, our deeds, our things that we're doing that are getting us dirty. What are you doing that's causing you to get muddy and nasty? When you do something that gets you muddy and nasty, you're clearly not going to continue to walk around like that. So what do? Well, you take those clothes off, probably outside or in your garage, where take those clothes off before you go in the house. Or there's been instances I've got done running an obstacle course race where I've been hosed off by Leah out in the driveway. She had a whole lot of fun with that. We put off the dirty, wretched, nasty things that get us in those moments. And then we cleanse ourselves, right? We get all the dirt off of us and all the nasty off of us. And then after we've dried ourselves off, we put on new clothes that are clean. Well, there's no difference in our behaviors. Our behaviors and what we're doing in front of God is no different. So I want to read through these passages that talk about this. So it picks up in verse 22 of Ephesians 4. That in reference to your former manner of life, you lay aside the old self, which is being corrupted in accordance with the lust of deceit. So in other words, the behaviors you shouldn't be doing, the things you shouldn't be doing, or the things that you should do that you're not, right? And that you be renewed in the spirit of your mind, change of mind, and put on the new self, which is in the likeness of God, has been created in righteousness and holiness of truth. So we take off the old. We wash ourselves and renew ourselves in the renewing of our mind. So let's talk about what's Jim doing that he shouldn't be doing. Well, it's not what I'm doing that I shouldn't be doing. It's what am I not doing that I should be doing. You know, I tend to, in the hard, in the traumatic, in the difficult, I tend to catch analysis paralysis. What should the response be? Prayer. What's my response? Analysis paralysis. You know, Saturday when Lee and I were working out in the yard, she hit a pothole in the yard that she didn't know was there. She hit a hole she didn't know was there. She tripped and fell. Well, she's got bad ankles. What did I do? Analysis paralysis. Did I turn right to prayer? No, I didn't. I sat there in analysis paralysis. Do I go pick her up? Do I just let her? It's not the action that I did wrong. It was the lack of action. Good morning, Felipe. Last night, almost 1 o'clock in the morning, Leah wakes up struggling to breathe. Some bile or something had gotten in her windpipe and she's struggling to breathe. What did I do? I have a CPAP. Pulled my mask off and it was like, breathe, breathe, oxygen, breathe. Did I turn to prayer? No, I didn't. And I felt the conviction. Got everything all situated and she was good. Nestled back into bed. I laid my head on the pillow and I felt the conviction. Did I roll over and pray? No. I didn't roll over and pray. And you know, I wrestled with even doing a video this morning. Why? How am I going to sit here and tell people what they should do when I'm not doing it? You know, how do we renew our mind? How do we wash our mind? We wash our mind and renew our mind. Paul tells us in Romans 12:2. He tells us, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, so that you may prove what the will of God is, that which is good and acceptable and perfect. Jim, don't get analysis paralysis. Come on. Pray. Stop trying to do it on your own. Morning, John. I don't feel worthy to sit and teach. How are you teaching something you're not doing? You're not putting into practice. Well, it's definitely going to be something that's I'm going to put off, I'm going to create a put off, put on. That comes from Ephesians 4. What am I going to put off? Analysis paralysis, and stop trying to do things in Jim's power. Because it's not Jim. It's not Jim at all. Jim can do nothing on his own. But Jim needs to stop sitting there in analysis paralysis. He needs to turn around. He needs to turn to prayer. Right away. Right away. First response. Turn to prayer. Stop with the analysis paralysis. Stop beating yourself up. Go to prayer. Take off. Take off doing things in Jim's power and do it in God's power. No analysis paralysis, but prayer. And what's the verse that we're going to renew and wash over our mind with? Philippians 4, 6 and 7. What's Philippians 4, 6 and 7 say? Be anxious for nothing. Don't be anxious. Don't sit there in analysis paralysis. No, none of them are worthy. Touche, John. It's not about being worthy. Moses certainly wasn't worthy. David certainly wasn't worthy. Paul, no, he wasn't worthy either. But they obeyed. So we're anxious for nothing. And what leads to the analysis paralysis? Anxiety. Be anxious for nothing, but in everything, in the heart, when your wife falls or when she's choking over her own bile, by everything, by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. Take it to Him. Storm the gates of heaven in prayer. In prayer. Don't stand there like a statue. Storm the gates of heaven in prayer. Use knee power, not gym power. Take a stance of knee power, not gym power. Gym power can't do it. He has none. It's only Him. That's where I get to be weak so that He can become strong. With thanksgiving. Let your requests be made known to Him. And what will happen? The peace of God that surpasses all understanding will guard your heart and your mind through Christ Jesus. Absolutely, John. Great point. We're called and chosen for our faults. He definitely